Hello, 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 beautiful ladies of the Psychic Business Masterclass. Welcome to final day of our 4 days together. There will be a Q&A at some point tomorrow. So if you do have any questions, feel free to drop a comment at any time. You can do so live or on replay. It doesn't really matter. So I want to welcome you to day 4. Today we're diving into different tools for spiritual mastery. And this is an ongoing journey. This is not something that you do once and it's basically it. This is something that keeps recurring, and no matter how far you advance, no matter how far you go along your life's journey, the lessons will come in at different levels. You will be tested. You will have different challenges arise. You will have different realizations that you're facing, different breakthroughs. And one of the things that I've learned along my journey and along the journey of building this business is that you have to prioritize personal development. You have to prioritize personal growth, and you have to be committed to continuing to do so, continuing to evolve and develop on your own, so that you can be in service of others in alignment. So several tools that we're going to discuss today. Number one, channeling. Channeling is something that has been a continuous journey of discovery and learning the various aspects of myself and how they manifest in my life. So we're going to be talking about channeling. We're going to be talking about tarot. We're going to be also talking about working with chakras. So these are the 3 areas that we're going to focus on tonight. So I want to dive into channeling, and channeling is something I have devoted an entire masterclass to. So if you need a link for that, you can find it on my YouTube channel. It's called Just Channel Masterclass, and it's completely available there. So all the parts, so feel free to watch that. It was a pretty extensive training that spanned over several days, and we there were some several assignments that you could do on your own to develop your channeling abilities and to give it a try, to give it a test, and to basically see what comes up, and to kind of start along this journey. So what is channeling? Channeling is an ability that we all have to set our own thoughts aside, to set whatever is going through our mind aside, and to focus on receiving the messages that are available to us through this connection that we all have to our soul, to our spirit, to the higher consciousness. And it's a beautiful, powerful tool to tap into the inner wisdom and to tap into the messages that are available to you. So channeling is something that I started a little while ago. It was several years ago, and I was always channeling. I just didn't really know it, and it came through in different forms. So someone who introduced me to channeling was my mentor and my shaman, and we did some coaching, one-on-one coaching with her together, where she helped me activate these abilities. But what she also helped me realize is that channeling manifests in many different forms. Anytime you have an idea coming through, anytime you have an intuitive kind of wisdom revealing itself, anytime you gain a deeper perspective on something that you didn't really see a certain way before, anytime you have written a song or a poem, anytime you've created art, all of these and so many more are different forms of channeling. And channeling, how it can be set apart from any activity that you do in which you apply your rational conscious mind, is that channeling comes through you versus you having to come up with it. So channeling is not really thinking about something. Channeling is not actively trying to figure something out or to find an answer or to basically take action to get some kind of a result. Channeling is much more about receiving, okay? So whenever we practice channeling, the goal is not to necessarily shut off your mind. It's not necessarily to stop thinking, right? It's very hard to do, even if you practice meditation, which I certainly try to make sure that I do often. even with meditation, shutting off your thinking mind, shutting off your thoughts is a difficult task, because when it comes to our mind, the more we try to make it quiet, the more we try to kind of keep it focused or centered, the more it will resist, the more thoughts tend to circulate, and it just becomes a little bit of a struggle. So with channeling, it's not really about shutting off the mind. It's not really about getting to the point where you don't have any thoughts. It's more about being in a place to receive, allowing yourself to be worthy of receiving, no matter what it is that you feel like at any given moment. And again, if you would like to dabble with channeling and kind of try it on your own and see what it consists of and how to use this practice, I highly recommend that you take the time to enjoy a free masterclass that I recorded previously. And again, if you need a link for that, feel free to message me. If you have attended it before, maybe it's a good time to revisit. The Just Channel Masterclass is available on my YouTube channel. But in terms of spiritual mastery, channeling is what I turn to when I seem to be facing a wall, or when it seems like there is no other way to look at a situation. Channeling is something that helps me get outside of my human perspective, get outside of what I'm focused on in my life, and to look at some of the other interpretations, right? Some of the other ways to gather wisdom from any given situation, to find a lesson in any challenge, to find a truth, right, that hasn't been uncovered before. So the way that I practice channeling, sometimes I just basically kind of turn into it, and I'm not really recording it, I'm not really writing anything down. I just kind of put myself in a receptive mode. Often that's just 5 to 10 minutes of meditation, or just kind of quietude and being with myself, being in the solitude and opening up to receive whatever messages that are coming through. So sometimes it's just me doing my quiet practice, doing my meditation practice. Channeling also comes through for me when I'm driving or when I'm exercising. And I think the reason that it happens is that because my mind is occupied with some kind of an activity that's somewhat repetitive. With exercise or with driving, it's basically my mind is focused on safety and just kind of managing the road or managing my body. And in the meanwhile, my channel is able to come through very clearly because my mind is occupied with something else. So channeling has been an instrumental, incredibly important tool in my spiritual mastery journey. And channeling helps me see things from a different perspective, helps me see things differently. So the next topic I want to discuss with you is tarot. So I have brought myself to the table just earlier today, and I was not really in a grateful state. I was not really in a peaceful, joyful, happy state. I was feeling pretty frustrated and even angry, and I had a lot of this kind of pent-up emotion that was stirred up by different things, but it was also a compilation of the things that I've maybe avoided feeling. So these things happen, especially as intuitives, especially as psychics, especially as people who are empaths and sensitive to other people's energies. We often have a pattern of kind of compounding, compiling all the energies that we pick up and the energies of ourselves that we don't process. So you might have had some kind of a minor thing before, like 3 days ago, or you might have had something happen on the day of, or you might have had a conversation with someone that was a little draining and you were like, oh, I'll think about this later, or you might have had some news that were maybe unexpected and made you worry, and you were like, I'll deal with that later. And so what happens is, because we are so sensitive, because we are so receptive to other people's feelings and thoughts and emotions and their energies, right? We tend to have developed this habit pretty early on of stockpiling different emotions, different feelings, different reads, different perspectives. And what happens is that we end up carrying a lot of this stuff with us. But as with anything that you pick up, as with anything that you avoid looking at, it tends to erupt at some point, because you can't keep piling on forever. At some point it's going to overflow. At some point it's going to expose itself. And when that happens, and here's where I'm really going with this message. When that happens, it's really difficult to focus on work with others. It's really difficult to focus on the energies of others. It's really difficult to get yourself into the position to do this work. And if you're attending this masterclass, something that I really feel that is the reason that you want to learn with me about my business and about how I am a professional psychic coach and how I do this intuitive kind of work professionally. So if you're considering this, you have to keep in mind that in order to do this kind of work and be able to do it consistently, you have to be able to bring yourself in a place where you are capable, right, of focusing completely on the other person's energy. You have to be able to bring yourself to a place where you are on this kind of even ground with yourself, where you're not too excited, not too frustrated, not too angry, not too all over the place, not too detached, not too scattered. So it's really finding the balance between these opposites that we, along our human experience, and we're all just human, no one is above anyone else. So as human beings, all of us, every single one of us, no matter how sensitive we are, no matter what gifts we have or how we choose to use them, we will get into those states where you might be so excited, you're just so excited that you can't really focus, or you might be so frustrated that you can't really focus. You might be feeling off, right? You might be feeling too much. You might be kind of feeling withdrawn and detached. And no matter what it really is, your goal, if you want to be able to do this work consistently, is to bring yourself to a place where you are on the even ground with yourself, where these things don't really dictate, right, how you show up to do this work. So for me, tarot has been one of those tools, actually the tool that I have absolutely relied on throughout since the very beginning, when I started reading tarot and exploring tarot and learning about tarot, which was amidst the dark night of the soul for me, which is something we talked about yesterday. Since that time and until basically today, to this day, until now, and will continue to, tarot is where I brought all of my feelings, all of my frustrations, all of my sadness, all of my excitement, all of my all over the place, all of my everything. And so the way that it goes for me is that no matter what it is that I'm feeling, if I am doing any work with clients and I'm feeling something strongly, or I can't stop thinking about something, or something is bothering me, or something's on my mind, or something's weighing on my heart, or maybe it's, I'm just so excited. I'm just so like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do this, and I'm just a little scattered. It doesn't matter whether the state is a little more lower or higher, right? I have to always bring myself to that even ground. And what helps me ground myself and what helps me get kind of even in order to completely be able to focus on another person and their reading and their energy is working with tarot. Because tarot really helps me understand the undercurrents of where I am coming from. Like, what is the lesson? What is the wisdom? What is the overall energy? Like, what is the season, right? What is this space? And from understanding this, from working with this, from sitting with these lessons and really connecting to what it is that's coming through a reading that I conduct for myself, I'm able to balance the scales. I'm able to manage my emotion. I'm able to regulate my nervous system. I'm able to change my perspective or look at things from a different point of view, or possibly realize something that I've been avoiding realizing, or possibly, come to a point of surrender of like, okay, it is what it really is, or okay, this is happening. Okay, the deeper truth is, that there are no answers available right now. and I just have to be patient. So surrender is a major factor, but surrender is a little bit of a tricky word, and I find that it's difficult to surrender to the things that we don't understand. So sometimes this raw emotion or this kind of energetic state that you're just not centered, whatever it is it, if it's up or if it's down, it's not that peace, it's not that middle ground, right? So when you try to surrender, you have to kind of understand what it is that requires surrender. So tarot is an incredible self-awareness tool, and tarot is that tool that I turn to no matter how I feel in order to do the work for my clients, in order to focus on the client's energy, in order to be detached and yet present, and also self-aware but not self-concerned in the process. And it's very, very important for me to do that. I don't really approach reading other people's energy or working with other people unless I'm able to come to that center point. But when I do need to come to that center point, tarot is the tool that infallibly helps me get there. And sometimes it takes a little longer, and sometimes there is a little more resistance. But regardless of what it is, working with tarot helps me get there. And if I really truly want to see the undercurrents that are dictating my current situation, or the things that are causing certain results, or the things that are manifesting the certain circumstances, using tarot always helps me see something that lies beneath the surface, and it makes it possible to surrender to that kind of understanding, to surrender to whatever it is that's actually happening, to accept it on a higher level. So what I want to go into a little bit here is I want you to just kind of understand tarot a little bit. So there's a difference. There are oracle cards, which are very specific to the author that designs them, and tarot cards oracle cards are very intuitive. The way to work with oracle cards, I think, is a lot of it has to do with the visuals. A lot of it has to do with the intention of any specific oracle deck. I also really love to incorporate the author's interpretation of the oracle cards into the readings I do for myself and my clients. But with tarot, and tarot is the main tool of my business and of my personal development journey, and like I said, bringing myself to a place where I can be unself-concerned and really focus on working with clients, no matter what it is that I'm personally experiencing or going through or feeling or thinking, right? So tarot is a system. Tarot is a system of archetypes. Tarot is a system of numerology of 4 different elements: fire, water, earth, and air. Tarot is a depiction of the journey of the soul, having a human experience, undergoing this evolution. So I just want you to give you a little bit of an understanding of the system of tarot and how it works, so that you can kind of comprehend a little better, the difference maybe between tarot and oracle cards, and see if tarot is something that you might want to explore. I would highly recommend it, whether you choose to explore it with me or on your own. It's an amazing tool, unlike any other tools that I've ever worked with or studied. So tarot consists of 2 major parts. One of them is major arcana, which is 22 cards depicting the process of enlightenment. And I know these are pretty big words, but when we're talking about the process of enlightenment, we're talking about the evolution of the soul along the human journey. So the first major part of tarot is major arcana. Now, these cards, these 22 cards, they depict certain chapters of the hero's journey. And what I mean by the hero's journey is you are the hero, and this is your journey. Like every human being, every life is an example of a hero's journey, because every single one of us has this soul component, the spirit, right? And we also are human, and we're also going through human experiences, a human journey, right? So major arcana depicts different realizations, different lessons for the soul that we experience along our human journey. These lessons are often repeated. These lessons are often not necessarily repeated, but deeper layers become available. This journey really never ends. And it doesn't really end when the human experience ends. It continues in different forms. It continues beyond our comprehension of human life, but this is an eternal journey of the soul, and basically it goes in cycles. So Major Arcana is a collection of 22 archetypes. None of these archetypes are self-sufficient. None of these cards in the Major Arcana are a particular human being or a particular specific situation. All of the Major Arcana, all of the 22 cards are parts, aspects, shards, reflections of our nature as a whole, of our nature as a collective, of our nature as an individual human being. So none of them can be looked at separately, is what I'm trying to say. None of them can make up a whole person. They're all just pieces of the puzzle. So each of them contains deep spiritual lessons and allows us to learn, this how the human experience, in a sense, mimics the entire universe. Everything that happens in the universe at large, anything that happens in life in general, and by life I mean all living beings, all of the creation, everything. All of this wisdom is mirrored in Major Arcana and helps us personalize these deeper understandings and apply them to our own journey and to understand our human journey. Not only the human aspect of it, but also how the human journey is the evolution of our soul, of our spirit while we're here. So Major Arcana is this very deep, very fascinating area of tarot. It's one of the major pieces of tarot, and in my tarot course, which I'm going to talk about later, we dive into every single one of those Major Arcana cards as a chapter, as a journey that you actually get to live. And you get to imagine this journey that you're going through, and you get to imagine certain things taking place, and you get to imagine observing yourself responding to these events. But then we also dive into the deep wisdom, the deep lessons that are associated with each one of those 22 cards. And I use plenty of examples from my own experience and how these examples mirrored these lessons to me. So each of these modules is about like hour to 2 hours long. It's a fascinating journey. We're actually completing the Major Arcana now. And I think we're on card number 20 tonight. So it's an incredible area, and I am always in awe of working with Major Arcana aspect of tarot, because it shows so many different ways to look at situations, to look at other people, to look at archetypes of human behaviors, and to look at this kind of cosmic symphony, this universal act of creating life, and this journey of our soul, right, in this human context, and how we get to grow and evolve spiritually throughout our life, throughout the most mundane and the most miraculous situations alike, what we are really here for, what is the deeper meaning of anything and everything. So Major Arcana is this major piece. Now, another major piece of tarot, it's something that's called Minor Arcana. So here we have the 4 elements. We have fire, we have earth, we have air, we have water, and we also have something that's called the Royal Court. So we have these kind of mini archetypes of the king, the queen, the knight, and the page. So let me explain a little bit better. So with the 4 elements, Minor Arcana covers wands, which is fire. This is one of the suits. Another one is swords, which is air, cups, which is water, and pentacles or coins, which is earth. So there are 4 elements, right? We have 4 suits in Minor Arcana associated with them. And then we have the numerology component, which is numbers 1 through 10, plus these mini archetypes of king, queen, page and knight. So each of the elements shows a different progression from the numbers, from 1 to 2 to 3 and so on. And we see how these different elements, these different energies, how they influence the significance of the number as well. So this is a little bit more of a complex system. Major arcana are these major archetypes, these major lessons, and there are many ways to look at them and many ways to integrate them. But with minor arcana, it's really important to consider the numerology, the element, and the positioning of the card to determine what it's trying to say. So minor arcana is a little bit more of a system. It's almost like working with the zodiac. It's almost like working with numbers or elements within yourself. So I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's a pretty complex subject, but what I will say is, you might be asking, like, elements for what? Like, when we're seeing these cards, what are the elements for? Like, what is the earth for? What is the water? Like, what does it mean, right? So these elements are reflected within ourselves. And although we can certainly see the elements around us, which these elements make up our world, our material world, earth, water, fire, and air, that's the world that we see around us. That's what it's made of. So when we look at the elements outside of us, it makes sense. But how does it make sense when we look at ourselves, especially using tarot as a tool of personal development, right? So the elements are reflected in ourselves in the following way. So fire stands to represent the spirit, the creative force, your ability to create in general, your ability to have ideas, your ability to make things happen from this willpower, right? This intention, this decision. So that's fire. Then when we're looking at water, water is emotions. It represents subconscious mind. It represents feelings. It represents what's going on within. And sometimes it's a little harder to interpret because feelings can be fluid, and the subconscious mind can come through in dreams. And dreams require interpretation. And it's all very kind of it fluctuates. It flows. So water stands to represent that emotional, that subconscious aspect of you. Now, air is the conscious mind, the rational mind, the thinking mind. Air is also what you think and what you speak. And sometimes what you speak is not what you say out loud. It's what you speak to yourself inside your own head. So swords or the air stands to represent the mind and the mental aspect, the words, the things you say, the things you think. Finally, the earth aspect, the earth element, stands to represent the physical body, how you actually feel in your body, meaning like how is your health, what is the state of your physical being, and what is the state of your material standing in this world. So this isn't necessarily just like money, but this is how you perceive what you have, your body, your possessions, where you are, the environment surrounding you, like what is your response to it, and how is that a reflection of the other elements. So all the four elements in minor arcana represent ourselves. The numerology helps us determine which aspect of any particular element is coming to be examined. And then we have this, like I said, this court component, which is the kings, the queens, the pages, and the knights. And these are mini archetypes. So these are roles that we play. So with the page, it's usually a little more feminine energy, receptive, learning, a student of, trying to learn, explore, apply, understand something new or understand something deeper. With the knights, it's action. So taking action. How do we actually show up? What do we actually do? How do we bring the energy of what we're trying to manifest into physical existence? With the queens, again, a little more of a feminine aspect of actual being. Like, how do we feel about being that or being this? Or like, how do we feel about being who we are in any given moment? And again, it really depends on the element that we're looking at. With the kings, definitely more masculine aspect, the kings stand to represent how do others perceive us. So being feminine queens, how are we being? Kings, masculine, how are we perceived? How do the actions, how do the feelings, how do all the different elements that we've discussed, how does this embodiment in the current moment, how is it perceived by others, and how does it show up in the world, how does it affect other things around us? So basically this kind of breaks down the structure of tarot. It is a complex structure, but it is, what I really love about tarot is that not only is it an intuitive tool that can help you develop your channeling, but it's a logically organized system that, although it takes time to learn it and to understand it in a way that you can use it as a tool, that time is well invested, because once you do, through understanding tarot, through mastering the system, you start seeing how that system is actually mimicked in a lot of other areas of exploration of your spiritual curiosity. So a lot of this is mirrored in astrology, a lot of this is mirrored in different esoteric teachings, in religious teachings, in the teachings of psychology. And what we find is that understanding tarot helps us not only understand ourselves, but also understand the world and other people around us. But as I mentioned on my personal journey of spiritual mastery, which is a never-ending, ever ongoing journey, if you ask me. But along this journey, tarot is the tool that helps me understand myself, helps me gain a different perspective on the events that are taking place, or what other people are doing, or what other people are being. And also tarot is a tool that helps me set myself clear and centered so that I can work on others. So no matter what it is that I'm feeling, no matter what it is that I'm bringing to the table, that's my, human journey, my human feelings, my what's going on with me, right? When I bring it to the table and I use tarot as a tool to help understand what's actually going on within, what is the deeper wisdom, what is the deeper truth of no matter what it is, it helps me detach, okay, from my human, right? And what's going on with my human. It helps me get very centered. It helps me get clarity, right? And from that clarity, I'm able to proceed to work with others as a psychic. And to me, that's without this, I don't think I would be able to do this kind of work, honestly. Without this tool, without using it on myself, I don't think I could bring myself to the place of, okay, I know what's going on, I can see it, I can surrender to it, and now I'm able to proceed and be unself-conscious and even and peaceful while working with someone else, so that I can focus on their energy 100% without my own interfering with that. Does that make any sense? Let me know if you're having any questions so far, by the way. I love hearing questions from you, and sometimes Facebook doesn't show me the comments, but even if it doesn't, if you ask me any questions, I will bring all of your questions from all of our modules so far to the Q&A tomorrow. I'm not sure what time it's happening yet, but I will make sure to announce it in the group. Sorry about that. Okay, so now we're going to dive into a little bit about or the subject of working with chakras. Okay, so that's not something that I talk about very often, but that is something that has been absolutely transformational and life-changing in my own spiritual development journey, my own journey towards spiritual mastery, is understanding the energy centers within my own body and being able to see what's out of balance. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a really juicy way to look at chakras, okay? So if you are taking notes, I suggest that you pull out that notebook and that you take notes now. I'm sorry I'm messing with the camera, it's just not even. It's just like skewed, which is bothering me a little bit. So, okay, that's good enough. So I'm gonna give you some really juicy stuff about the chakras. So get ready to take notes, or remember the timestamp that this is on. Okay, so here's a functional practical way of looking at chakras, because we can talk about the energy centers and all the stuff all day long, and I love it. I would love to have conversations like this all day long, which is why I do what I do. But I've heard a lot of times, I've heard this kind of like, okay, I like the talks like this, and I like the chakras and all the colors and, you know, all that stuff, and meditation sounds great. But like, what is the practical, rational way of like, what does it do? If you're working with your chakras, like, what does it actually do? So let me tell you, and feel free to take notes. I feel like I haven't said this enough. So we're going to start with a very, very bottom chakra, which is, the color is red. It's the root chakra, okay? Here's a practical way of looking at, like, what does it do, okay? I'm just going to talk about what does it not do when it's out of balance, because usually when we're looking at practical ways to understand something, something that's much easier to understand is always like, okay, how do I feel when it's not working? So why would I want it to work, and how does it feel if it's not, right? So here is how it feels when it's not. When the very base chakra, or the root chakra, the red one, right, number 1, when it's not working, it feels like your needs are not being met. Even if they are, even if you're all right, even if you're safe, it feels like you don't have what you need. And it feels like no matter what you get, like no matter what needs you fill, right, you're still not getting what you need, because it's like, I need this. And then you get it and you're like, yeah, but now I need this. And then you get it and you're like, but I still need that, right? So it's almost this never ending feeling of like, I don't have my needs met. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, the sacral chakra, which is, the color is orange. It's number 2. It's right next after the red one, okay? So the sacral chakra, what does it feel like when it's not working? What it feels like is that your desires are not met, that your needs are okay, but it's like, why can't I ever have what I want? Why does it feel like no matter what I want, no matter how much I try to get it, I just don't have it? It's like, I have this, but I don't have the thing that I actually want. Or you get something like a gift, like you receive a gift, and it's like, that's not what I wanted. And it's not necessarily the event of you receiving a gift and feeling like that. It's just that kind of feeling where it's like you get something and it's not what you wanted. Or you go buy something for yourself and you don't buy the thing that you wanted, you buy something else. And then you kind of question yourself. It's like, yeah, I can logically explain why I made this decision, but why do I always find myself getting things, but not the things that I actually want? So that's what it feels like, okay? The third one, solar plexus. There are a total of 7 chakras. I'm sure you already know this, but if you don't, there are 7 chakras, like 7 colors of the rainbow. So the third one, solar plexus, it's located right around your solar plexus. It's kind of above your navel. It's that kind of belly area, the upper belly area. And it's not a physical organ. It's just the proximate location of that energy center. So what does it feel like when it's not working or when it's not in balance? What it feels like is, I can't. Whatever it is that you're thinking about, whatever it is that you're trying to do or trying to manifest or trying to accomplish, whatever action you're trying to take, whether it's learning something, starting something, doing something, saying yes to something, going for something, it's like you want to say, yeah, I want to, but I just can't. And sometimes it can feel like, why can't I ever just ... Why can't I do this? Why can't I ever seem to? So again, we're looking at what does it feel like when it's not working, so that you understand the difference of these energy centers when they're out of balance, when they're not functioning properly. We're moving on to next, the heart chakra. So the color is green. So what does it feel like when it's not working? It feels like fearing that you're going to lose something that you love. And believe it or not, this fear drives us to the extent of not even having what it is that we love, not even allowing ourselves to love the things or the people or experiences that we truly do love. We're not even letting ourselves go there because we're afraid that if we let ourselves love it and really open up, or love the person, or love the idea, right, or love a certain dream or vision for yourself, that if you allow yourself to really want it, to really love it, that you're going to lose it. And so instead of allowing that to happen, you kind of shut down. And there's this phrase that says, you know, they have their heart closed off. So that's what exactly what it means, is that they don't want to open their heart to be disappointed. They don't want to open their heart to love something that they're already afraid of losing. So that's what happens with the heart chakra not functioning correctly or being blocked. Then we go to the throat chakra, which is, the color is light blue. What happens when it's not working correctly? What happens is that we are afraid of being seen. We're afraid of speaking our truth. We're afraid of being recognized for what we truly believe, because there is this fear of judgment, prosecution. There is this fear of being not accepted, of being possibly ridiculed, or being kind of called out, or being made center stage for everyone to look at and laugh at, and all these fears having to do with being truly seen. This chakra also has to do with the things that you tell yourself, the things that you think about yourself. So the danger of it also not really operating correctly is that not only do we fear speaking our truth to others or showing up in our truth, but we're afraid to admit the truth to ourselves. So maybe it's a situation that you're in, or maybe it's an experience that you're having, and because you don't want to look at the truth, you pretend like it's fine, but what you're doing in the process is sacrificing that truth that you already know, because you're not willing to look at it. So this is the throat chakra. Now we go next to the third eye chakra, which is located right around this area. And again, not physically, but the approximate location of this energy center. And with the third eye, when it's not working quite properly, what we run into is victim mentality. So it's seeing yourself as victim of the universe, other people, circumstances, events. And victim mentality can be a pretty triggering phrase. What I mean when I say it is that you're seeing yourself as a product of your environment. You're seeing your life as basically something that's out of your own control, something that you don't have a say in. And this can show up to different extents, but it's like if something happens in your life that's upsetting, you're like, why does the universe always do this to me? Or if someone says something to you and it deeply hurts you, you're like, why do people always treat me like this? Why do only people like that come into my life? You might get disappointed trying to do something new or scary, something like brand new, and it doesn't work out, and it's you say, oh, it's never been meant for me, I'm not good enough for this thing because it's just not happening my way, and so that means I'm not good enough, and I shouldn't have even tried. So third eye chakra dysfunctioning makes it seem like everything that happens to you, when the truth is everything that happens for you, and that you are a sovereign being. But it becomes almost impossible to see, because it seems like everything is happening to you and you have no control over it, and you're unable to see how there's any lesson in this or how there's any power in this. And so you feel basically kind of victimized by life in general. Finally, when we move on to the crown chakra, which is the top of your head and above your head as well, is the approximate location of that energy center. We're looking at, again, when it's not working, what happens when it's not working. And what happens when it's not working is we're living in the past or we're living in the future. And none of it is now. So we're living in the things that happened before, and we can't kind of get over them, and we keep thinking about them. We're like, okay, if this happened differently, this would be different. And then if I didn't do this, and if I did do this, things would be different now in this way. but we're not in the now. We're in the past. Or we're living in the future, meaning we're worrying about things like, well, what if this doesn't happen? And then what if this happens? And then what if something happens that I can't even predict right now? And you keep trying to kind of calculate your way out of situations that haven't even taken place yet. So living in the past, regret; living in the future, anxiety, concern; living in the now is being in the present moment. So the crown chakra dysfunctioning is taking us out of the present and into the past that you can't really change, or into the future that hasn't happened yet, and taking you away from the now, where you have all the power and all the sovereignty to really decide how you want to proceed, and to really appreciate the moment, and to learn all you can from the present moment. So this is a little bit of a breakdown of how these chakras can be very practical when it comes to how you feel about your life and what's actually happening, and how you make your decisions. So you can see that these different chakras being out of alignment can quite significantly impact how you show up, and what you decide, and how you act, and how you see yourself, how you perceive the world around you, and how you use your power, and even whether or not you have access to your power. So working with chakras has been a fascinating journey for me. It has been something that has truly allowed me to gain a deeper understanding of how to bring myself into balance, and not just to help other clients to get to a place where I can work with others, right? But how to gain that balance for myself in my life, how to bring myself not into just this kind of peaceful middle ground, but how to rebalance my entire system, and how to change certain behaviors, or how to change certain patterns in which I find myself. So it's been a tool and a foundational concept, working with chakras, that has given me the power back. And when I started doing this work, it seemed a little vague. Like I said, I kind of perceived it as like, oh yeah, chakras, that's interesting, I can talk about it forever, but like, what does it really do? So that was basically where I was coming from with chakras, but integrating these concepts and getting to the bottom of how these chakras act when they're not functioning properly has helped me understand when something isn't quite working correctly, or if something is off, right? Or if I'm off in some way, I am able to easily identify which specific energy center is the problem stemming from, and then I'm able to rebalance the center and bring it back into alignment. So today is a little bit of a shorter module, if you can say that. We're almost here for an entire hour, but these are basically the tools that I work with: channeling, tarot, and chakras. Now, oracle cards is something that I also use in readings that I do for myself and my clients, but like I said, oracle cards are very intuitive. In working with oracle cards, my main goal is to connect with the image, and also to incorporate the author's interpretation, because the cards were designed with a specific purpose in mind, and I like to honor that. With tarot, the system overpowers any specific interpretation of any given creator of a tarot deck. And tarot, in my opinion, tarot is really the foundational system that you have to kind of understand, and it takes a little bit of a learning curve to understand the different archetypes, to understand the numerology and the elements combined, and it takes some practice, but once you master it, there's nothing like it, and it gives so much room and so much power to gain a different perspective, a deeper understanding of any given situation, of what your client is going through, what you're going through, and have that capacity to look at anything in a different way, in an empowered way, in a clear way that actually serves you, instead of just being in the emotion or in the feeling, in the heat of it. It allows you to step back and see it from a higher point of view. And to me, nothing has ever given me an ability to do that. No other system, no other tool, so to speak. So tarot is incredible. Oracle cards I also love, but again, they're a little more intuitive, and there really is no system to them. They're each very individual. So minus the crown chakra. Oh, it's good to see you, Sophia. My mom is here. I'm so excited, so honored. So, all right, my friends. So this is today's module. We have 3 previous modules that you can catch up on, and I will also be sending out an email for all of you who registered and provided your email address for this masterclass with the links to all the 4 days that we've covered so far. If you came here for the module and you feel complete, this is a great time to wrap up. I'm very, very grateful for you being here. And thank you for making it to day 4. And thank you for attending this masterclass. It is my sincere desire and intention that you have gained wisdom and understanding of yourself through going through this masterclass with me, and that you have hopefully gained some inspiration to start your own business and or to deepen your practice to include more of yourself and your gifts. So I'm going to go into a couple things that I mentioned yesterday, but I want to speak about them again. So there are several ways to continue working with me on these different topics. So first of all, I talked extensively today about tarot. I have a tarot course that can be accessed in 2 different ways. So the tarot course is this absolutely incredible work of my lifetime that I'm so deeply proud of. And the tarot course covers all the cards in major arcana, as well as all the elements, the numerology, different combinations of cards that can teach you deeper wisdom and deeper understanding of the tarot itself. I also have several modules in it teaching you how to become a professional tarot reader, what it takes to open a reading, to close a reading, how to not pick up other people's energy permanently when doing this type of work, and also how to establish boundaries, how to charge for this work, how to feel into your pricing. So this is a complete course on mastering tarot that you can learn from me. Like I said, there are 2 ways to access it. So the price of the course is $2,555. One way to access it is to purchase the course and basically have access to all the modules that are available and all the modules that will continue being added to the course. Another way to access it is a $60 a week payment plan, where every single week you receive a new module. So I find that for some people it's a little more manageable because you don't get overwhelmed with all the different modules, and there's a very clear procession of this type of learning, where every week you have something to work on, something to integrate, something to understand, and you're able to do this at your pace, and you're able to kind of space out the modules so that you have sufficient time to integrate each and every one. The tarot course consists of 44 modules in total, and something that I also that is also available is that if you choose to go module by module, if at any point you get a little overwhelmed or you need a little more time to integrate, you can pause it and you can resume whenever you have a time to catch up. So this is the tarot course. I also talked today about the chakras. So I'm starting chakra certification tomorrow, and this is going to be a 7-day experience. Within this chakra certification, there's already some information available on how to do a chakra clearing ritual for yourself and how to do that for your clients. This container is meant to teach you how to work on your own chakras and also how to do this for your clients. So both the tarot course and the chakra course are tools that you can use in your own business. They are complete tools that allow you to take this knowledge and to start using it on your own in your own intuitive business. When you purchase the chakra course, it also includes a chakra clearing ritual that I physically conduct for you, that I record, along with a chakra scan that allows us to see which of your chakras might be a little out of balance or maybe a little overactive, so that you can balance your entire chakra system. So the chakra course is $777, and if you would like a short-term payment plan, you can ask me and we will figure out a way to make that happen for you. And if you are interested in both of these things, I do have a bundle which includes the tarot course and the chakra course, and it also includes as a bonus a one-on-one private coaching session with me, followed by 10 days of Voxer coaching. Voxer is a app, a messenger app that allows you to exchange voice messages in addition to text messages and pictures, short videos, whatever. But I like to use voice because I like to kind of talk back and forth with my clients. So you get a 1-hour session with me, one-on-one on Zoom, recorded. You get to keep the recording. You get 10 days Voxer access to me, where we can deepen our coaching together and really anchor in some of the things that you take away from our coaching session. And you also get access to Psychic Academy, which is my ongoing container that helps you develop your psychic and intuitive abilities. We dive into different areas such as channeling, mediumship, different clairs, different psychic and esoteric phenomena, and how to develop different areas of your extrasensory abilities. So this bundle is $3,333, and I can create a custom payment plan for you for that as well. That works with your schedule and that works with your budget. But if you're interested in both of these certifications and you would like to also receive a bonus coaching session with me, followed by 10 days of Voxer and also access to Psychic Academy, this is an absolutely great option. It's not available anywhere else, just this masterclass. So if you have any questions, if you are interested in either one of the certifications or in both, and you would like to access the bonus, send me a message, let me know. Sending me a message is the only way in this masterclass to purchase anything if you're interested. So this actually concludes our last training. I'm so excited for the Q&A tomorrow. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comment. If you're live or replay, it doesn't matter. Prior to our final call together, our Q&A, I will be sending out an email to all of you who registered for this masterclass with links to every one of the trainings we've had so far and links to all the offers that I've mentioned throughout the masterclass, so you can explore them on your own. And I will also in that email announce the time of our Q&A. And I'll also post an update in this group so that you know what time it starts tomorrow. So I will see you guys tomorrow. I cannot wait. Thank you so much for attending this masterclass. I'm so glad that you were able to make it to all the 4 modules, and I'm looking forward to our last session tomorrow with you. All right. Sending you all my love. Have the great rest of your day, night, whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you on our Q&A. Mwah.